Good morning, everyone. Sorry about no video yesterday, but I didn't want to just put something out when I didn't have any updates. Basically, what we had done 2 days ago is keep pushing the build further in terms of the content we were pushing it against, but still in the 200 to 300 chaos investment range. After that, I said, all right, in that 300 chaos range, that is done. And now we're going to start investing into the build a little bit. So I spent about 5 divines or so. I'm going to call this in the 5 to 10 divine range for upgrading the build, basically bringing it into its mostly final form. And then I spent another 5 divines with a storm shroud on top of that. So you can call that the 10 to 15 divine range. So that's basically what we're looking at, 5 to 10 divine rough range, plus a storm shroud for getting that ailment immunity. That's just how much that thing costs right now. It is really, really nice. The price is probably going to keep going up on it for a while. It went up to about 8 to 10 divines mid-league last league, so I figured I would just snag it as early as possible. All right, so here she is. I am now level 94. Like I said, I currently have a storm shroud, so I am fully ailment immune. I actually lost 300 life switching over to the storm shroud setup because I had to go for a jewel that had no life on it. I bought this jewel for very cheap. This was like a 20 chaos jewel. I just wanted the phasing and the avoid shock. The real big changeover that we did is we now have Eldritch battery on one of our scepters. So you can do this by combining 2 different trees. You want to search for a scepter on the market that has Eldritch battery on it. And then you can use the forge encounter with the igneous geode, which is only about 5 chaos or so right now. You can just buy one of those geodes, crack it open, and they always have the combined forge tree. I would show you guys, but the trade site is down as usual. But yeah, this igneous geode, you can buy them for about 5 chaos. You right click it and it'll give you one of the forge encounters. You just put it in, you can skip all of the monsters, run to the end, and then you smush them together. You put in the one that has Eldritch battery in the top, you put in your weapon at the bottom, and also make sure that Eldritch battery in the other one is allocated. So if it isn't allocated when you buy it, you do have to level it up a little bit, make sure that point is glowing. That makes it more likely to keep that node when it smushes them together. The old scepter will be destroyed, and then you just cross your fingers and hope that Eldritch battery is saved right here. Getting Eldritch battery here totally alleviates the stress of going for Eldritch battery on your Skin of the Lords. And so you could go for any keystone that's decent, or you could even go for Elemental Overload or something that we would use, which saves you even more passive points on your build. Okay, trade site's back. So the Igneous Geo right here, as you can see, it is 3 to 5 chaos or so. You can definitely buy these, maybe up to 8 or 10. If you have to go a little bit higher. And then when you crack it open, that will create a primeval remnant. You can see these are 5, 7, 10 chaos as well. They always have contains of forge that combines crucible passive tree. So that's all you have to do there. And then the way that you search for Eldritch battery is you want to go to Scepter right here. Then you can use tilde, the little squiggly guy that does a fuzzy search. And then you can type in, I just do CRU and then Eldritch, just like this, Crucible, Eldritch battery, search like that. And then you can see, I guess the price is going up, unfortunately. Sorry about that. Yesterday, they were 1 divine. There were a bunch of them at 1 divine. They do have to be scepters. You know, maybe as the supply goes up, maybe as the trade site doesn't go down as often, the price will go down a little bit. But you can also be on the lookout and try to snag one of these and see if they sell. You might have to do this a couple times, but it is very build enabling. That gives us Eldritch battery. And then the consequences of that is, since our mana is now being spent as energy shield, we do need to get more ES. I recommend having about 600 or more. As you can see, even with the other stuff that I'll go over in a second, reducing the mana cost of my fire trap, it's still spending my energy shield pretty hard right there. On top of that, we're using a divine blessing on our malevolence now. As you can see, it spends it quite a bit. What I did is I crafted a new body armor right here. You want to find an evasion energy shield hybrid base. The way that I would search for that is you want to go body armor right here, 6-link base. The one that I want dominant, I do 100 energy shield and 50 evasion. I want to do no uniques right here, and I want to do non-corrupted. And then if I search like that, you can just buy any of these. As you can see, a 6-link decent base is very, very cheap. Blood Raiment is a very good base. So yeah, just buy any of these. You want to get the best base that you can get. If you want to understand body armor bases as well, you can just go to the wiki, type in body armor, and then since we're looking at Dex intelligence bases, just sort by evasion or ES right here, and you can see what the best bases are. As you can see, there are kind of some variations. If you want the absolute max evasion, Blood Raiment is the best. If you want the absolute best energy shield, Carnal Armor is the best, but you do sacrifice quite a bit of evasion. And then Sadist Garb is kind of like the jack of all trades, you know, right in the middle there. And then if you can avoid like the not as good ones, I do recommend that. So yeah, if you can get Blood Raiment, Sadist Garb, or Carnal Armor, you're probably good to go. And then what I did to craft this is I used Essences of Envy. I actually used the tier 2 ones. I just used Shrieking Essences of Envy because I wanted Chaos Res. My goal was to get Spell Suppression on here, but I ended up hitting decent Cold Res, good life regen, and then a lot of life on the prefix. My goal was to go for spell suppression, but I kind of just ended up with this, so I stuck with it. What you can do is just type in, suppression, keep it in here, and then just keep rolling until it lights up, and then you see the spell suppression right there. And then the reason why I crafted that body armor is to have enough energy shield so I could actually spend my mana comfortably and not have to worry about running out. Especially as you can see, the Divine Blessing takes a lot of the energy shield, so we have to make sure, that's kind of like the tight situation that we're in. Cost me 1 divine here for the Eldritch Battery Scepter. This body armor was, roughly, 30 to 50 chaos. Very, very easy to craft. Nothing special here at all. And then on our Eye of Malice right here, we are now using Divine Blessing with Malevolence. You can see I have a Corrupted Eye of Malice that has +2 level of socketed aura gems. I did this myself. If you look right here, I was buying these for about 2 chaos each. It is very, very cheap. I was going for some sort of enchant. I was running labs yesterday, and I saw this Frostblink maximum travel distance. Kind of fun. As you can see, my Frostblink goes very, very far. Usually, if we take a look here, this is the usual Frostblink distance. So, it's touching itself. But with this helmet, it's actually pretty sick. You can go much, much further. It's pretty fun. I don't know if I'm going to hold on to it forever. I might go for, what I recommended in the build guide. Grace, Malevolence, Determination, Mana Reservation Efficiency, something like that. But it is pretty nice. I don't know. I might keep it. That's what I got there on the helmet enchant. That's really the big changes that I made before the Storm Shroud. I am saying 5-ish divines. I think I spent less than that with those changes. Slightly upgraded my rings. I bought these Fractured Bases for not that much. Just anything decent on a Fractured Amethyst ring. And then we craft that with Essence of Anger. Right here, Essence of Anger. Other jewelry, you can see increased fire damage. Gives me a little damage on my rings. Very, very easy crafts. And actually what I did here, this is actually not ideal because we don't care about mana anymore with Eldritch Battery, is you can use a Wild Bristle Matron, which if you have full suffixes, it is a beastcraft that gives you suffixes can't be changed. It's about 60 chaos right now. And then you can use a Veiled Chaos Orb, craft mana, or if there's mana already on there. And then you can very reliably unveil maximum life for, a guaranteed 60 life on each ring. Cost of the ring plus, 60 chaos on the Wild Bristle Matron, plus a Veiled Chaos Orb, and very easy to craft. Same exact amulet that I had before. My scepters didn't change. Oh, yeah. I guess this is a better scepter than I had in the last video. Yeah, I also upgraded the scepter. This is where the other money came from. So this scepter base with the Fractured Dot Multi was 3 divines. I was up at 4 a.m. When the EU and Korean markets wake up, the price goes down for a little bit. You can find those good deals. Bought this for 3 divines, and then I just used single Scorched Fossils, just like in the build guide. This isn't really ideal, but since I hit level of all spell skill gems, I decided to keep it. Ideally later on would be, the high unveiled fire damage on the prefix and crafted fire dot multi or regular fire dot multi on the suffix right there. Since I hit the level of all spell skill gems, I was like, you know what? That's kind of nice, right? For Frostblink, getting more damage there. So that's why I kept it. It's not amazing, but it's pretty nice. This scepter is the same one I had in the last video. That is the full changes. So with this scepter, with the Eldritch Battery and the changes we made there, that's roughly in the 5 divine range. I'm just saying 5 to 10, add it up however you want. And then the next thing, the big switch over on top of that is the Storm Shroud. So I bought this for 5 divines yesterday. Sorry, the price is going up. I was actually really on the fence. I didn't know if I wanted to buy it or not. I was like, is the price going to go up? And I was looking at it at 5 divines. As I was saying that out loud, the price jumped up to 5.2. And I said, all right, I got to buy this ASAP. We saw it normalized at 8 to 10 divines last league. So I just said, all right, let's just do this right now. I could have bought it 2 days ago for 4 divines. Yeah, that's just the way she goes, man. For items that are that quality of life for every single build in the game, the price will just be up, and that's just the way it's going to be. So previous setup, that is in the 5 to 10 divine range. The build felt really, really good. Previously, I was basically using Soul of the Brine King, having anti-ignite on a flask, and just kind of dealing with shock. You can get reduced effective shock on you right here. So you can use that until you have a Storm Shroud as well. Ailments are annoying, but you can deal with it like that. But of course, the big switch over is we go to a Storm Shroud. Then you just want to craft a pair of boots with Essence of Torment for chance to avoid being shocked right there. And then just search for any Abyss Jewel that has, the complementary amount. So if you have 57%, you just look for 43% or more chance to avoid being shocked. And then you are fully ailment immune. That's why the Storm Shroud is so expensive. Oh yeah, and a lot of people were asking about this in the last video. This is direct to ants. It's just an MTX thing. You can make your ants go somewhere. And then the reason why my life and all that is all glowy lava, that's from the MTX from the Battle Pass if you fully unlock it. And then I just want to call it a very special honorable mention right here for this mastery. Skills cost life instead of 30% of mana cost. This is pretty incredible. I actually should have been using this earlier. It solves so much of your mana cost. This also worked with your Divine Blessing. So previously, my Malevolence Divine Blessing cost like 800 mana, and now with that mastery, it costs 571 mana and 247 life. Now I can get away with only having 600 energy shield. So instead, it spends some energy shield and then some life as well. And that way we can get away with having a much smaller pool. Hopefully I explained well enough how I crafted this stuff. I'll write down some instructions in the description in the video below if you want to take a look at that. I'm just going to write it down in like a little notepad right here. I'm going to write down really quick instructions, try to be moderately detailed. And then also, this is basically going to be my final league start update. I think the build for me is essentially in its final form. After that, it's just trying to get better gear, getting better stuff. Like I don't have Enlighten, I don't have Empower. Skin of Lords, of course, eventually when it becomes affordable, hopefully that's a gigantic damage jump. But yeah, in terms of like the end of the league start scenario in the 5 to 10 divine range, that's basically where I look at it. I'm going to kill Uber Elder today. That'll be easy. Maven was very, very easy, actually. And then we're just done with League Start. But yeah, on stream, I'll be answering as many questions as possible. But yeah, after that, we'll start talking about other things like farming strategies, what we can do with Crucible, looking into future builds and stuff like that. So hopefully you guys have enjoyed this journey. I'll still be here. I'll be answering questions on stream and all that. Feel free to just join in. We'll try to get you up and running and making sure that you have a great league. But yeah, I'll see you guys soon. Goodbye.